Welcome to the Dizzy Red Panda podcast. This week we have knitting and a little bit of sewing. Is that accurate?
I mean, kind of. Sure.
Sort of.
Yeah, I'm Cheryl, just outside of St. Paul, Minnesota. And you can find me on Ravelry as Red and Instagram as Red Knitter.
I'm Katie. I'm just outside of Duluth, Minnesota, and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Nerdy and Plaid. We're a little off kilter today, and we're going to just roll with it.
But don't worry, you can still find show notes and links down below. We'd be happy to help you out.
We like to respond to questions and comments as well. So about 5 minutes before we started recording today, my area got something called the white rainfall.
Yes.
I refused earlier
It's an interesting weather phenomenon.
I refused to acknowledge the white rainfall earlier this week. Not that it stayed, so I can just kind of erase that from my mind. I believe you have some of this right now, too.
We do. We have been getting it all morning, and it is continuing outside my window right now.
Got it.
You're in the middle of October.
That is not acceptable to me.
Not even if
the world might call this snow, but we are in deep winter denial here because I like fall.
And it was just fall is the problem. I was just volunteering at a lovely fall festival at my husband's art park yesterday. It was great. It felt like fall. I wore a fall outfit, and I was womaning the marshmallow roasting area. There were leaves. There was hay to play in. It was great. And today, I don't know what this is. It's not winter yet because it can't be winter yet.
I refuse to acknowledge it. Maybe into November, but I want my leaves right now. We still have red and orange, and I really, really love those colors.
Yeah, and you can't see them right now.
Nope.
But before all of this happened, Katie had posed a great question for today that seems less relevant right now, but hopefully it will become relevant again soon.
Yes.
Do you want to ask your question?
So I said now that fall is here, I refuse to, switch out fall and winter in that question. So Now that fall is here, what object do you wear or anticipate on wearing the most?
Yeah, I'll go first because I picked something really specific, and that's the hat that I was wearing in a selfie that I posted on Instagram yesterday. Because it's a really great transitional hat for fall. It's the Sockhead Slouch hat by Woolly Wormhead. So it's like a crazy popular fingering weight hat pattern. It's got miles and miles of ribbing and then miles and miles of stockinette. So it's really easy to knit and it looks really nice. And I made mine in Woolfolk Snow, which is a black and white marled yarn. And it just goes with everything. It's a really beautiful yarn. It has a great feel to it. And so I wore it yesterday, and I wore it this morning, and I'm probably going to wear it a ton this fall.
Yeah, I was admiring the yarn on, as well as the hat on your head on Instagram, and I really loved it.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm wearing mine right now just because I'm cold. I live in a drafty old building, so this is a shawl. There you can see the braid. This is called the French Can. It's by Mademoiselle C. It's a crescent-shaped shawl. I've knit this about 3 times, but I wear this gray one the most. Mm-hmm. It's out of Wonderland Yarns in their Mad Hatter, which is their sport weight, and I think this is their Too Much Pepper colorway. And this by far gets the most wear out of my wardrobe because it is something that's really easy to fluff around my neck. And it's a neutral, so it goes with everything. But I would say by far I wear shawls the most out of anything.
It looks like that's one of those grays that can look sort of like it can pick up on the colors that you're wearing with it. It can look a little more blue or a little bit more purple or whatever.
Yeah, it is. And it's a really soft superwash merino sport weight. And so when I've been on the lazier end and I need to wash this, because I do have to wash it because I wear it so much, I've actually just stuck it in a lingerie bag and stuck it in the washing machine on gentle and then just laid it flat to dry. I'm like, good enough. And it works just fine. So anyway, talking about what we're wearing today, you also have something that you have made that you are wearing.
I do. It's just poking out the top here. This is a button-down collared shirt that I made a few years. It's been quite a few years now, actually. So this is Vogue 8722, which is one of my go-to button-down shirt patterns, and this is the more fitted of the go-to button-down shirt patterns that I have. So I have this one that has several different darts going on to fit really, tightly, like form-fitting style, and then I have one that's a little more of a casual fit without so much stuff going on. So this is out of, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but there you go.
Yeah.
It's got some polka dot to the chambray. It's from Robert Kaufman, which is a line of chambray that I really like. I've worked with several times before.
I love the little extra polka dots to it. I like that extra detail. And I think we both discussed this week how we could live in chambray forever.
I'm considering actually making that lifestyle move. I'll get back to you on that.
Because you can dress it up or down.
Exactly.
All right. So we've both have finished objects this week.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you go first?
Yeah, I just have one little finished object this week, but I do have one. So, hey, that's better than some episodes we've done.
Oh.
This is...
So cute.
A tiny little pumpkin hat. It's super adorable. I'm pretty excited about it. So the yarn that I used is Malabrigo Rios in their glazed carrot colorway. And then the top is just some leftover Cascade 220 superwash in whatever that heathered green is called. I don't know. So I actually brought my son's jacket with me to the yarn shop to pick out this yarn because he's got a new jacket for fall that's orange, which seems to be his favorite color, or at least the color that he most enthusiastically identifies.
Got it.
So I wanted to make sure that the orange didn't clash with that. And so this isn't like a perfect match or anything, but it also looks nice with the orange of his jacket.
Right.
And this is really a Franken pattern. And that's what happens when you have a husband who grew up doing farm and agriculture type things, is you can't have a pumpkin hat that doesn't accurately represent what a pumpkin looks like.
Of course. Okay.
So things like a leaf on top of the hat. Oh, I'm sorry. Those leaves are too small in comparison to the size of the pumpkin. No, we can't have that.
Pumpkin leaves are huge.
They're huge. So no, we can't have a pumpkin leaf on top of the pumpkin hat. We also can't have the spiral bits because that doesn't look right either, and it's also too small. So I wound up putting together a few different elements from different hats, and I detailed this pretty thoroughly in my Ravelry page just in case. My son is really into pumpkins right now. He calls them pom-poms. He points them out everywhere. And so in case that continues next year, I wanted to be able to make another one if this one gets too small. So like I started with a rolled brim hat stitch count. I used this textured stitch pattern, which is just a ribbing with garter instead of straight pearls.
Nice.
So that's from a pumpkin hat. The decreases on top are from a different plain hat that I can't remember which one I used, but I liked them for that. And then the stem is from a different one, which it turns out it's really just an I-cord that's flipped over. So yeah, this just kind of came together pretty quickly. And then somehow I lost my size 6 16-inch circulars. I don't know where they could be. I'm normally pretty organized about this stuff.
You have more than one set?
I don't think I do. I think I just have one.
Okay.
So I ended up using 9-inch Addies that Katie had given to me a while back. Oh, 12-inch, sorry.
Yeah.
12-inch Addies that Katie had given to me. That makes sense. I was thinking 9-inch doesn't seem 12-inch.
Got it.
That Katie had given to me because she didn't like them, and I thought, oh, well, it's a fairly small hat. That'll work. And they turned out to be perfect. So that worked really well.
Yeah. The 12-inch are really helpful, especially if you're doing baby hats, but the needle shaft is just too short for me. Like, I can't
it is really short.
And you did it with 9-inch needles before and, made them work. Yeah. So I thought that would...
I have really skinny hands, so I think that helps. I have just very skinny hands. I don't know. So yeah, that's what I finished this week. He loves it. He calls it his pom-pom hat.
That's adorable. Did he wear it yesterday?
He did wear it yesterday. I got some very cute pictures, so I will pop those into Ravelry for sure and probably on Instagram too.
Have you done carving pumpkins yet? Or
We haven't, but he decorated a mini pumpkin with his dad. So they, like, Steve had picked out some different eyes and mouths for him to choose, and then he did that part and then gave him a marker to just go for it on the rest of it. He had a great time.
Oh, that's adorable.
There's
Wait,
more ahead.
finds out he can eat them. The pumpkin markers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I got into a bit of a finishing spree.
Jeez.
Last week. So not this past week, but the week before, I ended up really sick with a cold, and not to complain about having a cold, but like cold medicine essentially gets me like high as a kite. I have really weird reactions to it. Like I wrote a haiku about falling leaves to my partner, and he was like genuinely concerned about me. And I'm like, no, I'm just at Dayquil and I'm just thinking about the beauty. Anyway.
You shouldn't drive while you take that.
No, thank God I take the bus to school. So it just allowed me to function, and then I was able to work from home. Anyway, so I got it into my crazy head at that time that, I want to cast on all the things, but I don't want to buy new needles because I have all sorts of things cast on. So I need to just finish everything.
Oh, okay.
So that's what happened. So some of these are new, some of these are new, or nah. One of these is new, most of these are older, and a couple you've seen before. So The first thing I finished is the Football Fight cable hat.
Wait, that one was in timeout for a little while.
It was, because I kept screwing it up. Part of it happens to be like my brain on a cold while trying to do complex cables and watch University Challenge with my partner. University Challenge is a BBC trivia show that is super hard. And brings teams from the different universities, obviously in the UK. And then they ask them really, really hard questions. And so these are usually like graduate students who are on the teams. And like, here's this complex mathematical equation, solve it. No visual representation. Or here's this like really complex like chemical thing. I'm like, I have no idea what that is. But you're expected to answer it.
Point of inquiry.
Sure.
So are they working, like, are the questions within their fields, or is this just like general trivia questions?
Kind of general, like they'll ask like a overview, like here's this really random piece of thing, which is random to me. And then they'll be like, whoever gets like beeps in and gets the question right will have a whole series of questions sort of surrounding that topic. And so, like, sometimes it's really in-depth history stuff, which sometimes I can get. Literature stuff, obviously. Like, with some of the things that they ask, I'm like, what are you... Really? It's a really humbling experience for me.
That sounds terrifying.
My goal is to get one right an episode.
I'm going to have to check this out. Because, like, I am a doctoral student, and I don't know anything about anything outside of my field. And like, that sounds awful.
I'll post a link. I'll try to find a link down below and post it down below. But it is and then the presenter is a former, like, I think economics professor. I might be completely wrong on this, but he's also super condescending and like, oh, you did get that one wrong. Or he'll like outright laugh at how wrong their answer is. Anyway.
Awesome.
So, long tangent for how I keep messing up these cables. So I'm going to put this on.
Wait, so should I make a condescending comment about how many times you ripped that out then?
I'd prefer if you didn't.
It looks great though.
Yeah, so it turned out really cute and I really like it. There will be a pom-pom added at some point, but I'm still on the hunt for the perfect pom-pom. I think I'm going to go with a dark gray. Or a dark brown. A gray would go better with my coat. Anyway, so let's go back to the logistics of this. So this is the Football Fight Cable Hat by Lauren S. Gavins. It's a beautifully written pattern. As much as I've said I've screwed it up, it's mostly on me, not on her. She includes charts that are well labeled. She has written instructions right next to it. Like, it's a gorgeous written pattern. And I want to talk a little bit more about the yarn. So this is more of a true mustard color. So this yarn is called Blane. I did a Google Translate looking up a little bit earlier today. And it is a Norwegian yarn. And it has, I'd never heard of it, so I did some research behind it. So this is from a sheep called, Norse Pelso Garn. Garn means yarn. So
Yeah.
it is spun from a range of fiber from the sheep called the Norwegian Pelso. And they are known for having a lustrous, gray, curly fleece with a relatively soft, fine hand. That's straight from their website. So the other thing that I found really interesting about this is that this yarn, this breed of sheep, is actually a cross between a Gotland and a Norwegian heritage breed called a Spelsau. And so it has curly, I don't know if you can see that. It has a little bit of a halo, and it's quite curly in how that is, which I thought was really interesting. It's really soft to work with as well. So, Gotlands. They are a fairly prevalent breed, obviously not as much as like a merino, but they have curly gray, long stapled fleece is what they're known for. And so it's really tightly curled. It's like those adorable curls that my brother has gorgeous ringlets, and I didn't get those clearly. But their fleece is, so their staple length is about 10 inches, which is really, really long. And usually that means that you can spin it pretty fine. But in my experience, when I'm spinning at least, is the longer stapled aren't as soft. So they have a higher micron count. However, Gotlands have a fine micron count, which makes it really soft. So like a merino. So this is a really nice soft yarn. Plus Gotlands are super cute because they have curly dark gray fleeces with black faces. And then some of them have what they're called sugar lips or sugar coated lips. So they have white around their lips. So it looks like they stuck their face in like powdered sugar. They're kind of cute. It's adorable. Anyway, so about the Spelsau breed. It's a double coated breed. So it has an upper, like their outer layer is long, and that's actually what's used, from what I could tell, used in like weaving and used in the production. And again, it's known for its luster. It's actually a meat breed. So that's what they are raising them for, but they obviously can use their fleeces. And this is a breed that dates back to like the Iron Age. So it's a really old breed. And they say that Viking ship sails were made from Spelsau yarn, which I think is also really cool. Anyway, so I thought that history was really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a beautiful yarn. I would recommend it. So it's really nice and soft and really, really warm. I can't wait to wear this hat.
It looks like it's perfect for a northern Minnesota winter.
Yes, which I don't want to start tomorrow.
No.
Anyway, all right, so the second thing I finished is also work in progress, which you've seen before. This is called the Duet Cowl.
Yay!
It blocked out very, very large. I'm actually going to put it on. So I'll go like this first. So the two yarns I used were the blue, which we've seen so many times, which is the Cascade.
Let's just call it Katie Blue yarn.
Katie Blue, I like that. And then the gray is a Juniper Moon Farm in the Harriet and in the color Travertine, which is just a dove gray. And it's one skein of each, and it blocked out huge. I didn't pin it out. I just let gravity do its thing. And it is nice and squishy, and I love it.
It looks great.
I'm going to just keep this one on for the rest of I'm going to just change what's around my neck every 10 minutes in the show today.
Okay. I'm okay with that. I support you.
So this was a pattern that you had told me about, and now I've knit twice. This next pattern is also one that I stole from you, and as one of your suggestions. This is called the Windhelm hat.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, look, it's also in that twilight blue.
Katie
I
Clue.
only have one skein left of this, and it is deep in my stash, and I'm not digging it out. I'm a little overusing it right now. So the reason I'm using this yarn so much is not only because I have quite a bit of it, or I had quite a bit of it. I'm also working on making like winter accessories that coordinate so that I can
Yep.
wear them all the time. So that's why. So this is called the Windhelm hat. It's by T. Shep. I couldn't find an actual first name, but it's a free pattern. Let me put it on. It's a free hat. It's a slouchy hat. So we'll go like this. So it has that slouch built in, which is really nice. And it's a great technique building hat too. So for example, you'll notice that the brim is quite tall here, but then when you flip it around the back, it's pretty short. So this involves short rows in like that brim. Then there are also, to help the slouchiness, let's see, we can see, there are 2 pleats that you do, and those are really cleverly done. And it's just a really great little hat. I did this one in about 3 days.
That one is my absolute favorite slouchy worsted hat pattern.
Mm-hmm.
I've only knit one, but I will definitely knit more.
I absolutely will knit more as well, because I think this would be a great gifting pattern too. So yeah, I really love this hat. It's gotten quite a bit of wear this week already.
Yay.
All right, so the last things that I finished, I tend to do like grab a skein of yarn and some coordinating colors and then just kind of riff on a technique for a little bit, and that's what these are. So these are called my Helix hats. So they're more striping. So they're a set of 5 actually.
Of course.
Of course they are. So I started out by doing some stripes. I like this one a lot too. So this is for baby kid hat. So this is crazy bright with some speckles in there is what it is. So this was another one where I was just playing with jogless jogs and things like that. And then I wanted to try some helix knitting. So helix knitting involves using 2 or more, probably like in the 3 range. You can do it with 2 different colors of yarn, and you're knitting with them on every single row, but you're not carrying them. So here's an example of that. You can't see the yellow too well in there. But essentially what you do is you divide the number of stitches you have by the number of colors of yarn you have. So let's say this is 60 stitches divided by 3 colors equals 20 stitches. So you knit 20 stitches in one color, then switch and do 20 in the other color. And then you switch to the third and actually knit 40. So you go across the first 20 stitches of the first color. And you just keep dropping your yarn and picking up over and over again. Yarn and management was the thing, but it was a really fun technique to play with. And I'll probably try it again. But I really like it because it doesn't give you the jogs. That's the back line. The coordinating jogs that you sometimes get with stripes.
Can you show the top? It looked like the top was really cute.
Oh, this is just a divide.
Like it's sort of swirly because of the way that you did the colors.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is just a normal hat top. And then just because of how you do the helix knitting, that's how you get that spiral. So
I like it.
Yeah, so it was a really fun technique to play with. I'm pretty sure these will get palms. And I think I already made them. Again, they're probably with my mittens that I can't find this week. Or my bobby pins, which I can't find this week. It's a theme of my life. So you can see the speckle yarn is a Plymouth Select worsted. They have a speckle line. And it's the blue one. Sorry, I don't have the tag. And then the rest of the yarns are, so like these 3 are just, the coordinating colors are scraps from Knit Pick Swish, which is their worsted superwash. The yellow is some leftover Cascade 220 Quattro, which has a little white in it. Anyway, it's a superwash as well. And so those are all colors that coordinated. So those are 5. 5 baby hats.
Fun. Are those going in the gift basket or are you selling them?
Probably a little bit of each. So So I should probably, about the selling thing. I just signed up and sent in my application to do a December craft bazaar here in Duluth. And I'm a little bit nervous about it because it's the first time I've done it by myself, but I'm planning on selling hats and hats only. So we'll see. So you're going to see quite a bit of hats coming out of like my knitting lately just to make sure I have enough product. But
yeah, that seems smart.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all my finished projects right now.
Cool.
So what are you working on? I want to see how you're more, I should say, when I can do simple knitting, I can crank out a lot more. Cheryl does a lot of complex knitting and she doesn't screw it up like I do. And so she is able to keep working on those and they just take her a longer time because they're more complex.
I also have like some extracurricular activities that you don't have. So I think you might have a little bit more knitting time than I have.
Sometimes.
That'd be my guess. That'd be my guess. All right. So this is my Ashby, and it looks the same as it did last time, except it looks significantly longer. Zoom.
I love how that pattern just waves back and forth.
I do too. So I am just about done with the first side of this, and then it looks like I use short rows to turn the corner and do the second side. So remember, the border is done first on this pattern.
Okay.
So I'm excited to like turn that corner and like see how it looks as a weird sort of V. I think that's gonna be a little funky, but that's fine. So this has just been like a really pleasant knit. It's made all the more pleasant because it's now on my new interchangeable needles.
Ooh.
So I got the Licca interchangeables and it's on those now, which is very exciting.
Those are such pretty needles as well.
They really are. Yeah, so I got the original ones.
Okay.
So now they have some that are blue and some that are sort of like a golden brown. And I just got the original driftwood line, which I'm concerned that people think that they're actually driftwood, but like it's actually just sort of a name, you know, like any other name for stuff. Like they're not beachcombing to make these interchangeable needles. But it seems like some people might think that.
I think that, but
yeah. So, but they're just like really pretty and lovely. And so this was my second set of interchangeable needles. But my first set was just the Denise resin ones or whatever they're called, like the plasticky ones. And back when I bought those, that was pretty much like one of the few games out there in interchangeables.
Back in the days?
Back in the olden days when things were dark and scary. And so I hadn't gotten, like, now there's been this huge explosion of interchangeables, and I haven't really felt the call to get any until now for reasons that I don't understand. And I'm finding that it's sort of like what I'm told getting a tattoo is like, where now I have one and I have the taste for more. So I'm already dreaming of like potentially getting a metal set of some sort and which brand I might get for those. So I don't think that'll be a purchase soon, but that's something I'm sort of thinking about.
So I have 2 sets of interchangeable needles. One of the problems of working at a yarn store, it's a wonderful place, but I see all the new needles that come in. And I have a set of Haya steel sharps, which are fantastic because you can get them in 2 needle lengths, and then they're super sharp and they have a flexible cord like an Addy does. And I really, really love those. And then I have a set of carbons as well.
I like carbons.
I also love. I really like sharp, stabby needles. So
something to think about.
Something to think about. So since we're talking about shawls, let me show you the shawl that I cast on this week. Because like I said, I needed some plain knitting, just simple knitting. So this isn't a lot to show, but I started my ribbon wrap.
Yay!
Oh, that's showing up a whole lot more gray on camera. But this is, let's see if I can get a better color. So there's actually a little bit of purple in this. That's not showing. And I'm using Malabrigo. Let me grab my colors. So I'm using Pearl, which is a kind of a lavender purple. I'm using Wales Road, which is purple and some like turquoise bits in it. And then I also have Purple Mystery, which is the purple in Wales Road. And the color that I was originally going to pair with it was this Matisse Blue, which is one of my favorite colors. But I didn't feel it was right. So I found Reflection Pool, which is essentially that turquoise. So those four are going to be my colors, but now I'm just on the gray triangle part.
I love how saturated those colors are. That is just going to be stunning.
I'm so excited for how this is going to turn out. So I'm on section 1, and I'm not even through section 1, and there are like 10 sections of this thing. So it's going to be it's huge. Yeah, it's going to be definitely a long-term project.
Yeah.
And it requires now that I've actually read the instruction, it requires like 2 sets of needles because you're putting stuff on holders as you're connecting, and then there's like this really long grafting section. I'll be fine when I get to it. So it's just a garter stitch triangle right now, and it's really easy to work on, and it's kind of what my brain needs right now.
Yeah.
What else are you working on?
I just have one other thing that's really going right now, and that's my Crazed Scandinavian cowl.
Mm-hmm.
And I did get my chart done for this time. So you can see like weird little decorative blips, like I don't know what that's called. And then another set of snowflakes. Surprise, surprise. So like I said, it's just a short chart for this one. The next chart on here looks like it's a fair bit bigger than this one was, so that might be a little bit more of a challenge to get done before our next episode. It's another snowflake.
Really?
Yep.
I'm so surprised.
But it's a big snowflake this time with some coordinating little snowflakes. So,
that will be cute.
I'm happy to be chugging along on this and staying on track to get it done to wear for Christmas.
That will be, and I think you're doing a great job and setting a really realistic goal of 1 chart per podcast episode. And I think that's really working to your benefit here.
I think so too. And honestly, this week I might not have picked it up if it hadn't been for that goal, because I'm pretty into this Ashby knitting and it's like nice and cozy and textural.
Yeah.
But I was like, I really want to be able to report in that I got my chart done. So I picked it up, and like, even though it was a small chart, it was still probably 4 or 5 hours worth of knitting in there that I did like sometimes during work meetings and sometimes, just in the evenings or whatever.
Nice.
So like it's not a ton of work, but it's still like a decent amount.
Well, it's color work. It does take some concentration.
Yep.
So the other thing I cast on this week is a cabled hat, but it's a much easier cabled hat, and I've done it this is the 4th time I've knit the hat. So this is the hat number 5 by Kara McKinley, and it is in Plymouth Homestead Federal Blue, which is what I used. It's essentially the leftovers of what I used for my snowflake, split back snowflake hat. Right. So it's just a really nice, easy cabled hat with some 2x2 or 1x1 cables, and then I think that's a 4 or a 6 cable right there. Nice. So it's a nice and easy. It's a free pattern, which is also really nice, and I think she does a good job of setting it up and explaining things. She includes written instructions, but not charted instructions, and I like charts, so I just made a chart.
Yeah, I would too.
Easy enough. There's some free things like software that you can use online. I will try to find a link for it below, but you can create your own charts with it, and that's a really easy tool.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm working on. Since I cleared a whole bunch of stuff off the needles, I'm going to keep working on trying to clear stuff off, but we'll see what happens.
Okay. Well, I have something for the Help Me Corner today, which is a feature that I just made up, I guess.
I think it's a great feature.
Yeah. Okay. So when Katie and I were talking about starting a podcast, we didn't want to be really into stash enhancement. We wanted to focus more on what we're making. But I think occasionally it'll probably make it into our podcast. And this is one of those times when it felt like a good idea. So My lovely husband is very supportive of my yarn and knitting habit, probably because it makes me a happier person.
And
And he
it's from it. You do make quite.
he does benefit. You're right. I should probably make him something. It's been a little while. Um, so he also enjoys Kickstarter, and he's backed a few different Kickstarters for himself. And so I think he just gets the email or browses or whatever. So he wound up backing a Kickstarter for a yarn company called, I assume that's Ula and Leah. And they just sent the yarn recently, and I can't decide what I want to do with this yarn because it's really beautiful stuff. And I'm actually feeling like I didn't do my homework, Katie, because you gave that whole history of the breed, and I just brought the yarn to show you, and I don't know anything about this company except I did include the link, and it looks like you're now able to buy the yarn just
Cool.
with regular purchasing methods. So it is available. So his Kickstarter, whatever you call it, the thing he got from the Kickstarter was the pledge. Okay, sure. So I have 3 full skeins of yarn and then a bonus one, and each of the full ones are 100 grams. And so this one is DK weight 100% yak wool. And it's hard to show. It's a really dark brown.
That's
it's about the same color as your hair, actually, Katie.
The natural color of my hair.
Sure. Yeah, not the blue part, the Katie blue part.
Right.
Okay, so that's one.
That's a gorgeous color, too.
I know. Okay, and then this is 100% baby camel. And this is in a fingering weight.
That's stunning.
And it looks very camel-y. I actually knit a shawl out of some alpaca that was this color a while back. And then this, my friends, is 100% cashmere.
Oh, that's stunning.
Why, yes, it's cashmere.
That's cool.
And then the bonus skein was also cashmere, but it's in a different color. So it's sort of a taupe color. So I can't decide what to make out of this. It's all of this gorgeous stuff out of these luxury fibers, and I can't decide what to make out of it. And I'm sort of troubled because, so these 3 are all the fingering weight ones. And I feel like the taupe doesn't really go. These 2 look really good together.
They look stunning together.
Yeah, so, I could maybe do something with the 2 of them together, or even, add in a third something.
Right.
I don't know what. But then, what would I do with the bonus ball? So,
is
that's
it a
weird.
fingering weight?
Yeah, so all of these are fingering.
And how many yards is it, the bonus?
It's 20 grams. Do they give yardage? They don't give yardage, so I guess we just...
So it's 400 yards, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's figure that this is, under 100?
4 times... Sorry, I'm mathing very slowly. So about 80 yards.
Not even trying to math.
I'm slow. That's gorgeous, though.
It's really pretty, and I want to do it justice,
Right.
And then it's also they're solid colors, so I could do some fun stuff with the texture of it or whatever.
And no matter what, it's going to be really, really warm. So you have to take that into consideration. And because you could do something even just with one skein, the bonus skein, and you could do something really lacy with it, because it's still going to trap that air, that warm air, really, really nicely.
Yeah. So those are sort of one thing, and then I think that the DK weight is just completely its own thing.
Right.
And this maybe I'll just make something for my husband out of this, because this is totally his color kind of thing.
I was thinking that would be perfect for your husband.
Yeah. And he would get a kick out of wearing something made out of yak. That would be pretty entertaining for him. But even so, 100 yards of DK weight, that's a lot. You can do
100 grams.
100 grams of DK. Yeah.
That's quite a bit.
That's a lot. So if anyone has any brilliant ideas for what I should use this stuff for, I would love to hear suggestions, because I'm just I'm at a loss, and I really want to do something perfect with it, which is how things get stuck in your stash forever. And I don't want it to be stuck in my stash forever. I want to enjoy it.
Absolutely. And I guess one of the things that happens when I have like a luxury skein of yarn is that I get into a little bit of anxiety about project anxiety or planning anxiety because I want it to be the perfect thing. And I know it's to be gorgeous once I use it, but I want it to be the perfect thing.
Yeah.
And so I can understand that. Yeah, that will be fantastic.
I'm really excited about it. It's just a matter of what to do.
Yes. Well, I'm probably going to, after we're done, like after we end, I'm going to go check out that link because that looks really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's very pretty. And he said that they were really great to work with. He said that there were some people complaining about how long it took them to ship, but he said it was the fastest shipping on any Kickstarter he's ever done. So I don't know why people were complaining.
Well, I mean, I guess if you're used to something shipping, like if you're working with an indie dyer, like 4 or 5 weeks is fairly normal if they have to make it. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cool. Well, that looks like something interesting, and your new needles look very, very interesting.
There's lots of pretties around here.
And we need that as we're getting into the season of no color.
Right.
We'll talk about a cal soon enough, I think. That we'll bring up.
Oh, yes. Stay tuned for that.
I get a little obnoxious about it. So that's all I have today. I have nothing else to talk about yarn-wise.
Yep, I think that covers it.
All right. Well, enjoy your afternoon and enjoy your crafting and get excited about your projects as much as we do. And we would love to have comments down below about ideas that you have for this new pretty yarn, or what excited things that you're working on, or things that you love wearing when it comes to fall. I refuse to answer the W letter now, the W word. All right. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.